Second call for Junior Market Show Beef Class 1. Second call, Junior Market Beef Class 1.
Okay, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends or family that couldn't make the trip to Sioux Falls today and they'd like to check out the Junior Market Beef Show, they can live stream every show from the Sioux Empire Livestock Show on Ringside Live. You just visit ringsidelive.co. ringsidelive.co. If you want to text that to your family and friends, they can get in on the fun as well. Good afternoon, everyone. We want to welcome you to the 2025 Sioux Empire Livestock Show Market Beef Show. This is the third and final call for Class 1. We want to remind everyone that this show will be live streamed through Ringside Live. Visit www.ringsidelive.co to view all the shows this week, courtesy of Avera Health. My name is Jennifer Hazing. I'm very proud to be your announcer today for the Junior Market Beef Show. I work with Girl Scouts Dakota Horizons, and I grew up in Western Iowa, where all business is agribusiness, so very pleased to be with you. I hope you'll join me in welcoming our judge this afternoon, Parker Henley. Parker is from Stillwater, Oklahoma, and serves as the Livestock Judging Team Coach, and Dr. Robert Bob Tadasek Endowed Chair Fellow at Oklahoma State University. Parker coached the 2021, 22, and 23 National Livestock Judging Team and was named the Coach of the Year in 2021 and again in 2022, and was named 2023 Best of the Barn's Best Senior Livestock Judging Team Coach. Currently, along with coaching, Parker serves as an extension specialist focused in beef cattle management and youth livestock selection and education. He earned his master's and PhD from the University of Illinois while focusing his research in nutrition and management strategies for heifer and bull development systems. Parker was a member of the Livestock judging team at Butler Community College and Kansas State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in animal science. Parker is originally from central Missouri, where he and his family still raise Angus and Charolais cattle. Parker and his family have bred or exhibited several national or reserve national champion Charolais cattle. Parker and his wife Christy have 2 children, Norman and Charlotte. Parker has judged livestock shows in 33 states, as well as Canada and Mexico. Please join me in welcoming our judge, Parker Henley. Class 1 coming into the ring now. Coming into the ring, exhibitor 25, Leah Scott of Fulda, Minnesota, and number 28, James Jensen from Colton, South Dakota. I'd like to call Class 2 for the Junior Market Beef Show. First call for Class 2 Junior Market Beef.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure of mine to be here and work through these steers. I understand we only got 5 classes of steers, and so we'll take our time, but there were only a pair of steers. But more importantly, I want to welcome you, and I'm looking forward to spending the next few days. If you're staying past tonight's festivities, we'll have a great time, and we're going to have nice weather, it looks like, relative to South Dakota. So awesome. These 2 lightweight steers that are starting off here, I'm going to use the black steer up here in the front to win this class. Good job, young lady. These 2 steers are about similar in terms of their structure and movement. The black calf's got a little bolder rib. He's a little heavier muscled. And he's a little thicker made than the red and white roan behind him. If I wanted to use this red and white roan here, he's a little longer fronted, a little cleaner up through his throat latch than the black one, but he doesn't quite have the true muscularity down his top and out through his hip, and so that's why it's pretty close there. Both these cattle need to move a little bit better, okay? I'd like to loosen them up. I chose to go with the bigger bone, thicker made calf with a little more finish on him, versus a nicer fronted steer here in this roan one. Good job to both of you all on our first class of the day. Put your hands together for them.
Let's show our appreciation for first place, Leah Scott of Fulda, Minnesota, and second place, James Jensen from Colton, South Dakota, here in Class 1. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that today's show would not be possible without the following generous sponsors. Our show ring sponsor is Midwest Communications. I want to call out a few elite level sponsors as well. Thank you to C&B, as well as First Premier Bank and Premier Bank Card as Class 2 comes into the ring. And I do want to mention one option for steers. SDSU will purchase for use in collegiate and youth livestock judging contest as well as for class at South Dakota State. If you have an interest, your contact is Tommy Norman, and you'll be interested to know that the bid is $2 a pound. Again, Class 2 coming into the ring. Exhibitor 19, Brooke Hansen, Laurel, Nebraska. 33, Brody Ingram of Winchester, Illinois. Exhibitor number 8, Harley Hansen from Tekeman, Nebraska. Exhibitor 23, Cody Simons of Marcus, Iowa. And number 30, Reese Groos of Moville, Iowa.
Well, our second class has 5 in it, and there's some nice steers. I thought the top 3 steers were closer. And ultimately, I land on this gold-colored calf here to win this class. I will start off by saying he is not the soundest structured steer in the world, especially up in his front end. And that does bother me, but I think as you weigh out the totals of things, this steer is the best in his rib and his body type. He is the biggest top, biggest hip, biggest stifled steer that is really appropriate in his finish. And I think when you get him stopped here, he still balances up nice enough from the profile. He's a little cleaner in his throat latch than the steer in 2. His body, flank, and everything balances maybe a little better than the one in 3rd there. This calf's a good carcass steer that certainly needs to be fixed up through his front end. I don't know if there's an improvement structurally behind him, so I think his just fundamentals of body, finish, muscle is what I like the best in this group here. So good job to you. Certainly like to toe those front feet in up there a little bit. This next steer, he is a good feeding, good bodied, good finished calf that's deep, practical in his kind. He's got appropriate amount of finish on him. I like the shape he still has down his top. He's a steer that is not as big out of his hip and stifle as the one that wins. He's a little more jammed up through his front end. And I would change him in motion as well. He gets a little up in his top line. I did not think he was an improvement structurally over that one, even though he's a well-finished steer. The one in 3rd here, if you like to neck judge him, he is longer fronted and cleaner in his chest floor, and he's a trimmer-made steer, and so I like that about him. He's been presented nicely. He's not exactly my kind. I'd like to see a calf this late have a little more finish. He gets a little bare there back to his 12th and 13th. And I'd like to just make him a little broader all the way through him as well. And then again, like the other 2 of them up in the top, want to change his hock and hind leg structure there as he goes, but he's darn sure a long-fronted, highly presented type of a steer that's bigger in his kind there, so a little trade-off. So I thought the 2 and 3 were close for sure. The steer in 4 here, he's probably the soundest structured steer of the entire class. He's loose-made, he's long-strided. He's a calf that gets a little plain in his shape. I think he needs a little more muscularity down his top. When he goes away from you, he tracks a little narrow. But he is good ribbed, and he has more finish on him than the calf right in front of him. And he definitely moves well. Just need to see more muscularity, a little more compositional correctness there. The next steer in the lineup's a big bone, rugged-made calf that's certainly stout in his feature. He's a calf, though, that maybe doesn't have the balance or look or eye appeal of some of those other ones here, but certainly a functional kind of a steer. Good job to you.
Your results in Class 2. In 1st place, Reese Gruss of Mobile, Iowa. 2nd, Harley Hansen of Tekeman, Nebraska. In 3rd, Brody Ingram of Winchester, Illinois. 4th, Cody Simons, Marcus, Iowa. And 5th, Brooke Hansen of Laurel, Nebraska. Your Class 2 exhibitors and results in the Junior Market Beef Show. Coming into the ring now, Class 3. Exhibitor 22, Isabella Bennett of Hughesville, Missouri. Exhibitor 21, Cade Stratman of West Point, Nebraska. Exhibitor 32, Riley Steffes of Nevada, Iowa. And Exhibitor 36, Janae Olson of Chancellor, South Dakota. Want to repeat that option for steers? South Dakota State University will purchase for use in collegiate and youth livestock judging contest, as well as classes at South Dakota State up in Brookings. The bid is $2 a pound for your steer, and the contact is Tommy Norman if you'd have an interest. Want to shout out and say thank you to a few more sponsors while Parker is looking over these cattle. Our trophy level sponsors: Farm Credit Services of America, Dakota Bank, Poet, Sioux Valley Energy, and Prairie Farms. Remind everybody as well that if you got friends or family who couldn't make it here today, they can check out the live stream on ringsidelive.co. This is a call for Class 4 for junior market beef, Class 4.
All right. Well, this is a good class. We got two really nice steers here at the top end, and I like both these steers a good deal, and they both have a lot of quality to them. This steer that leads off is probably more my kind, and just his forerib, his body shape, the muscularity that he has up over his rib and loin. I think his back handle's a little fresher. He's real even in his finish and how he transitions there into his forerib. I like his foot shape and his length of hip, all kind of add to it. Ultimately, I just like the rib, the body type, the finish, the compositional correctness of this steer from a market standpoint. Just a little better. Now, he's a little mature up through his front end. He drops his pins a little bit. This other calf, where I'd like to see this guy a little better is right down through the base of his stifle and through his quarter, but his back is big and has a decided advantage there in foot and bone. I like the length of neck and the way this one's neck ties up out of his shoulder. That's really good. He's a bigger stifled kind of a steer there as well. When you get right here, shoulder into forerib, right behind his shoulder there is not as big and good, and I'd change him a little from a movement standpoint as well off either end, but realistically just want to see that back a little bigger and forerib shape a little better there. Got a big hip, big stifle, just freshen him up over his rib and loin, mellow him out just a shade in terms of finish. But a really long-fronted calf that's presented very nicely there. We're going to get into a pair of gold steers here that are a little closer. This calf's definitely got a little more true forerib and flank and finish on him than the steer directly in front of him. He's a calf that gets a little plainer up front. He gets a little bit hocked in here, kind of going away from you. It looks a little mature and plain compared to them two first black ones, but a good solid steer. He still gets out and goes a little more comfortably than this next one, and that's why he ends up here in third. The big gold steer here is the biggest in his kind, real level down his top line. He's big bone. He's a little straight. He's a little hesitant in his movement. A little past his prime is what I would say. I'd like to just make this guy a little fresher and a little neater to look at. But good pair of steers, good class of four there in our next class. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our Class 3 exhibitors. In first, Cade Stratman of West Point, Nebraska. Second, Isabella Bennett of Hughesville, Missouri. Third, Riley Steffes of Nevada, Iowa. And fourth, Janae Olson of Chancellor, South Dakota. It's Class 4 coming into the ring now. I'll say thank you to a few more of our sponsors, banner level sponsors, Sanford Health, and friends of the show sponsors, friends of mine, Greg and Julie Hammer. Thanks to all of our sponsors today. 3 exhibitors here in Class 4. Exhibitor 34, Megan Toll of Canby, Minnesota. Exhibitor 24, Emma Jo Donnelly of White Post, Virginia. And 31, Sutton Murphy of Arlington, South Dakota.
All right. Well, this class of 3 here, I think we've just got a few more after this. I would certainly expect that as we get up into fairly heavy weights here. These 3 steers are going to get placed this way from head to tail. And it's a nice class. And it's certainly some point you would make a speech about weights are big and all that kind of stuff. I think we're past that. These cattle are plenty acceptable still. This steer suits me pretty well here. And what he does well is that for a big calf at this weight to be that agile from a movement standpoint and to be that broad in his build with that much dimension and muscularity that he has, I think is pretty good. That's a really good steer, a really good heavyweight market steer that's sound, thick, well balanced, and appropriate in his composition still. He's showing a little bit of maturity, in terms of just where his finish is at and where he's carrying a little of that, but it's not bad. That's being just stating a few things I see. I like a lot of things from a fundamental standpoint that steer does. I actually like this steer in second quite a little bit too. He's a longer spine calf. He's trim still, but appropriate. He's nice fronted. He's big topped and he's thick ended. He's a calf. He's got a little bit of staleness up to his crest. He's not blessed with the hair coat of that guy there. Feet and structure's not quite as good as that calf. But I think this steer is muscular. He's long-sided. He's trim-made. He's a steer that fits in with a few more that we saw as well from a quality standpoint. This black and white steer is a little bigger in his kind. He's a little hairier than that guy right in front of him. I think if you want to give him a grant, I think at times his flank and underline balance a little bit better than this guy. To me, he's a little plainer up through his head and his neck. I want to change him a little structurally as well. But the real reason, he doesn't quite have the true muscularity down his top, the true broadness is like either of those 2 calves ahead of him. But good solid calf. You've done a nice job feeding him to heavyweight. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Class 4 exhibitors. In first place, Megan Toll of Canby, Minnesota. In second, Emma Jo Donnelly of White Post, Virginia. And in third, Sutton Murphy of Arlington, South Dakota. Class 5 coming into the ring, our final class of the Junior Market Beef Show here at the 2025 Sioux Empire Livestock Show. Your exhibitors, number 35, Grant Shiphoff of Sibley, Iowa. 38, Kira Nyblock of Rock Rapids, Iowa. Exhibitor 14, Jay Simone of Grettinger, Iowa. Exhibitor 15, Tanner Hansen of Laurel, Nebraska. And Exhibitor 37, McKenna Cleveringa of Alton, Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to be sure you check out the many vendors located throughout the building during the show. Those vendors include Real Tough, Nodak Sharpening, Red Barn Creation 605, and many more.
All right, well, in our final class of 5 real big heavyweight steers here, this black steer wins the class pretty easily, in my opinion, and he'll fit in there in our lineup nicely as well. He's a big old bone, rugged made kind of a calf that obviously has something to him. I like the density he possesses, just how big and his feet and his hind leg is really nice. Not lacking from a muscle standpoint. This steer's starting to show quite a bit of maturity, probably up through his head and his shoulder. Comes off just a little coarse and maybe not as fresh, but I think, relative to the other ones, he still comes out here pretty quickly onto the top. This gray and white paint here is actually pretty sound when you get him out in motion. He's long strided. I think that's why he beats the gold one. He's a little better down his top line than the next one. To beat that steer, though, he needs a little more bone. He needs a little more true natural width and substance to him. But I like the length of side. I like his flexibility, the way he's maintained his composition at this weight. This big old gold steer's got a little more finish on him than that calf right there. He's a little bigger bone. He labors a little bit in motion off of his hind leg, probably too much. And I don't think he balances probably good enough here from the profile either. A little plainer up front relative to his flank there, but definitely appreciate his length of side. He wins the award for being the biggest calf of the show also there too. The next gray calf's actually pretty good bodied. And ribbed. He's got a nice amount of finish on him. This steer looks a little plainer. He doesn't have the eye appeal or balance. Gets a little straighter off of his hind leg too there, but a good solid calf. We're going to round out the group with a black steer that's nicer about his neck and throat latch than this steer. He's strong and level down his top line. He's a steer that's a little frailer, a little narrower, just a little plainer in his appearance than a few of them ahead of him. But good job to you. You're doing excellent work. Nice way to round out our classes of the Market Steer Show.
Yes, round of applause. For Class 5, your results in Class 5. In first place, Kara Knobloch of Rock Rapids, Iowa. Second, J.C. Moan of Grettinger, Iowa. Third, McKenna Cleveringa of Alton, Iowa. Fourth, Grant Shipoff of Sibley, Iowa. And fifth, Tanner Hansen of Laurel, Nebraska. And we'll have first and second place from each class in our Junior Market Beef show. Ready to report to the ring, please. As we wait to get that started, let's have another round of applause for our judge, Mr. Parker Henley. There it is, from Stillwater, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State University. And how about a big round of applause for all of the volunteers who are working so hard to make the show happen. Maggie in the ring, Daryl being sure I got my facts straight. Derek, there's a lot of people making it happen. And the show chair this year, Abby Bischoff of Stockyards Egg Experience. Thank you to all those volunteers. Coming into the ring, we have our first and second place exhibitors from Junior Market Beef. We'll have 5 winners. If you are one of them, you'll have some paperwork to fill out for the sale of champions, and we ask that you return it to the office by 6 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, for as short of a show as we've had here in the middle of the afternoon, in the middle of the week, we've got a nice crowd around here watching the competition. These young people are doing an exceptional job. And so with that, I would certainly like you guys to join me with a round of applause. Congratulate these young people here. They're doing fantastic. I certainly hope you all as families and groups and fitting groups have enjoyed working and presenting these cattle, because I can certainly admire that. It's a very nice lineup of steers considering the short numbers that we had. One or two little comments, not any big speeches here this afternoon, but I think certainly you guys need to thank all the folks here at the Sioux Empire Livestock Show, all the volunteers that have been helping me here in the ring and have come together to put this on. I can definitely tell the group of people here are very much about education and the youth, and that's a real breath of fresh air. And so my compliments to all of you. Make sure you thank those people as you leave for giving you an opportunity to exhibit your cattle and come together as a community here and show your animals. So main thing as you leave here and you're thinking about showing a market steer, there is a lot of things that you need to learn about the industry, the work ethic, but realistically, while all you young people, while your parents paid the money for these show steers, all the crews to fit them, is so that you guys can spend time as a family and maybe you learn a few key life lessons. Remember that as you drive home. Think about a couple of those that you might have learned here from this trip to Sioux Falls, and I'm certain it'll be worth it for your parents. I've enjoyed this. Like I said, we've got a few more shows the rest of the week, but if you're leaving us after today, I certainly appreciate you coming and exhibiting here, but certainly looking forward to the rest of the week spending with young people showing their market or their steers. So, and heifers. It's been a great time. I'm going to share a few comments about these cattle because it was pretty short. We didn't have any divisions or anything like that. Our first class had 2 steers. They're both out here. They're both thick-made, heavy-bone steers. We'd like to make them a little more agile, but I can appreciate the bone and muscle they have there. Class 2, we had 3 cattle up top that were pretty nice. I landed on this gold steer from a composition, body, muscle standpoint. All 3 of those cattle could be a little more limber from a movement standpoint, and I certainly see that out here. That might limit this steer a little bit as we come down and think about our overall. He needs to be a little sounder, but I can appreciate the compositional correctness that he has from a rib and body standpoint, as well as that steer that was behind him, similar in terms of kind. And then we got into another class here, and there's a pair of steers that ended up out here in this lineup, and they're top-end steers of the group out here. We landed on a really good 4-ribbed calf that's really nice and appropriate in his finish. He's got a lot of muscle down his top. He's heavy bone. He's a good market steer that's a little plainer up front. He ducks his pins just a shade in motion. Maybe he's not as neat off either end of his skeleton as the one that's behind him, but he's really good bodied, really muscular, and really well finished. The one that was second to him, a long-necked calf that ties his neck high. It's big in his pin setting, very striking from an outside standpoint. Wanted to change him a little shoulder, 4-rib, hind leg, and put a little more just true finish on him, but a very high-end calf that's striking. We get into a big, heavy class here. These steers weigh a lot, but it's still probably all right. This steer that wins this class is big bone. He's sound. He's well-balanced. And, he's broad in his chest. His body's good. He's got plenty of muscle to him, and he's got some finish on him as well. I said that he's showing just a little maturity in some areas, but when you can combine some fundamental things of being well-balanced, sound structured, and compositionally correct, that goes a long way in a market steer show. The one behind him there is a real long-bodied calf that's trim at this weight. He's got some extension up through his front end. He actually travels and gets out and goes pretty well. He's not the widest made, widest constructed steer. I'd change his feet a little bit, maybe give him a little better body type, but certainly a steer that's up there. We got our big heavyweight steer down here in the last class. He's a big old bone, rugged, wide, big ribbed calf that's got a lot of muscle to him. I think if you gaze across him compared to a few in front of him, he's a little bit coarse. He's a little staler up front in his chest, tail head, all those little things. Read a little past his prime, as you'd expect in one of the heaviest calves in the show, but still good from a bone, muscle, width, and composition standpoint there. So that's kind of how I see these cattle out here. I was trying to piece together some things for a top 5. I think we'll have some really nice steers in there. Again, thank you very much. My compliments to all the people dressing these. We'll go out and line up your top 5 here at Sioux Falls.
This is your last call for the Prospect Show check-in. Last call. Here's your results in the Junior Market Beef Show. In first place, Megan Toll from Canby, Minnesota, with our grand champion. Reserve champion Cade Stratman of West Point, Nebraska. In third place, Isabella Bennett of Hughesville, Missouri. Fourth, Kira Knobloch of Rock Rapids, Iowa. And fifth, Emma Jo Donnelly of White Post, Virginia. We'll see you in those 5 steers at the Sale of Champions tomorrow night. Appreciate you being here for the Junior Market Beef.